Getting people to join your community is one thing, but getting them to stay, to care, that is where the real challenge begins for major community builder. A few months ago, into one of the communities I manage, I noticed a pattern. New members were excited for the first few weeks, then gone, like you know it. No replies, no posts, just silence. And that is when I realized that retention doesn't happen by luck, it happens by design. You have to design it into your architectural ecosystem. So, in this video, I'll share 3 long strategies that helped me turn a fading tech learning community into one where members kept showing up month after month and even started leading on their own. Most community builders think that keeping members engaged means you need to be posting every single day, running consistent events, or coming up with endless new ideas to keep things fresh. And honestly, that is exhausting. Plus, it doesn't actually work long term. But here's what I discovered: the communities with the highest retention rates aren't the ones doing the most. They are the ones that build strategic habits and systems that makes what members want to come back naturally. It is less about entertainment and more about building belonging. My name is John DeCray, and I've been building and managing online communities for over a few years right now, from creative collective to tech learning ecospaces. In one of the tech-focused learning communities with over 30,000 members, participation used to drop by almost 70% after the first month. But after implementing these long-term strategies, members' retention increased by almost 10%, and our returning participants became the core advocates that kept the community alive. I noticed something. The members who stuck around weren't the ones I was constantly trying to impress. They were the ones that felt like they belonged to something bigger than themselves, who had routine built around the community and who saw it as a part to grow within it. That single observation, from random engagement to structured system, transformed the space. Members didn't just attend, they started leading, mentoring, and creating content that attracted even more people. In this video, I'll break down 3 key strategies I use to build long-term engagement, the kind that keeps members coming back even after the initial excitement fades away. And at the end, I will show you how to combine them to create a self-sustaining community that runs on connection and not pressure. So, here is the thing that most people get wrong about community engagement. They think it is their job to constantly entertain members or come up with new reasons for people to show up. I know I am going to get spanked for this, but the communities that thrive on long-term engagement, they don't rely on the founders being a constant content machine. Now, think about the communities you have been part of and that you keep coming back to. Maybe it's a Discord channel, or a fitness group, or a Slack community, or even a friend circle. You don't show up because someone is begging you to. You show up because you feel like, one, you belong there, two, there's a rhythm and routine that fits your life, and three, you are growing or learning something valuable there. And when I realized this, everything changed. I stopped trying to hype up my community with flash new features every week and started building systems that make engagement feels effortless. And that is when retention skyrocketed. The real secret: when you build the right foundations, members don't need to be convinced to come back. They just do. So let's break down exactly how to build that foundation. 1. Create a shared identity. The number one reason people stick around in your community isn't because of the content. I know you're going to like, Joy, are you being serious right now? Yes, that is the truth. The number one reason people stick around in your community isn't because of the content, it is because of the identity. When members feel like they are part of something unique, something with its own culture and language, living feels like losing a piece of themselves. Creating shared identity means building cultural markers that only your community have. This could include inside jokes that only members understand, unique terminology or phrases, signature tradition or rituals, shared values or belief system, a recognizable aesthetic or brand. So here is what that looked like for me in practice. I started naming everything. Instead of just weekly chats, I gave our recurring events memorable names. Instead of generic channel names, I used playful labels that reflected our community's personality. I celebrated community or specific milestones, not just members count, but things like 100 dad joke shared or our 50th member success story shared. This became part of our lore. I encourage inside jokes to form naturally. When a funny moment happened, I'll reference this later. When members created memes or faces, I'll adopt them. This made the culture feel organic, not forced. For example, one of our communities started using our weekly check-ins, calling it what accountability coffee. Even though they were virtual, that name stuck and members would say things like see you at coffee. It became part of who we were. When you do this right, members start identifying as one of us. They'll do things like, in our community, we do this, or reference inside joke with pride. That sense of belonging is what makes the community members come back even when they were busy. By building a shared language, participation didn't just rise, loyalty did. Member you use our hashtags or names were 2 times more likely to stay active for 3 months or longer. But identity alone isn't enough. You also need to build something into their routine. 2. Build habit loops. People are creatures of habit. Whether we like it or not, people are creatures of habit. If you want your members to keep coming back, you need to make visiting your community a habit, not something that they have to remember to do. The best engagement doesn't require willpower, it is automatic. Now, I'm going to explain some things. If you've read Atomic Habits, this is just going to be easier for you. Now, a habit loop has 3 parts, which is the cue, the routine, and the reward. The cue is a trigger that reminds them to show up. The reward is the action they take visiting your community, and the reward is the benefit they get from showing up. Your job as a community builder is to build those loops intentionally. Now, I'm going to be explaining how I built this habit loop into my community. I created a predictable reading. Every Monday at 9 a.m., there is a weekly reflection prompt asking people what is their goal for this week. And every Friday, we do the wins of the week. Same time, same place, every single week. After a few weeks, members started showing up automatically. It became part of their routine. I use consistent triggers. I will send a notification at the same time each week with the same format. That consistency itself became the cue. Members told me when they see the notification, they think, oh, it's Monday, time for the reflection prompt. Now, I made the reward immediate and social. When member posted in our weekly thread, they get immediate response from me and other members. That social validation became the reward that reinforced the habit. For example, one of my members told me, I used to forget to check in, but now Friday afternoons isn't complete without posting my weekly win. It is just part of my week now. Pro tip, start with one predictable event or prompt. Don't try to do daily content if you can sustain it. Better to have one reliable weekly touch point than 7 inconsistent ones. After 2 months, attendance at recurring events increased by 40%. Engagement stayed consistent. When engagement becomes habitual, you stop chasing people. They just show up. Your community becomes part of their routine, moving into their lives. But here is what really takes retention to the next level. 3. Create pathways for growth. Here is a harsh truth. If members can't grow in your community, they will eventually outgrow it and leave. People need to feel like they are progressing, learning, or evolving as individuals, or whatever it is in their career, or whatever it is they are trying to achieve through your community. If your community feels exactly the same in month 6 as it was in month 1, people will drift away looking for new challenges. Now, creating pathway for growth means giving members new skills or knowledge over time, opportunity to contribute and to live, recognition for their progress, and clear levels or milestones that they can reach. Think of it as a video game. If you are stuck in level 1 forever, you're going to quit. You have to quit. But if there is always a next level to unlock, you keep playing. Here is how I built growth pathways. I created a ladder of participation and ownership. I have a LinkedIn and Medium article titled The Community Ownership Pyramid. You can check it out using the link in the description below. It talks about how you can move your community members from lockers or passive members to become community owners or advocates. Now, new members start by locking and commenting. Then they might post their own content. Then they could volunteer to host a session or moderate a channel. Eventually, they could become full moderators or community leaders. Each step felt like an achievement. I publicly recognize progression. When members went from quiet member to active contributors, I spotlight them. Sarah has been crushing it with thoughtful response. Everyone welcome our newest community champion. This showed others what was possible. I invited members to level up. Instead of waiting for people to volunteer, I would reach out directly and I would say, hey, I noticed you are great at explaining X. Would you want to lead next week's discussion on that topic? Most people will say yes because they felt seen and valued. Also, I taught in layers. Early content covered basic, but I also created advanced discussion for members who have been around longer. This prevented experienced members from getting bored. Now, in one of my communities, we had a member who started it as a complete beginner, and after 3 months of consistent participation, I asked her to co-host a beginner workshop. She said yes, and that promotion made her feel so invested that she became one of our most active members for the next year. Now you need to understand when members sees a path forward, they stick around to work it. They stop just being consumers and become contributors or co-creators, like I also say. And contributors also never leave. They are too invested. Now, here is when all things come together. Shared identity gives people belonging. Habits those make them flow or help them include your community as a routine. Growth pathways give them purpose. When you combine all three together, you stop chasing engagement, you create retention. And that is how our community went from short-term excitement to a long-term movement. Now it is your turn. Just pick out one of these strategies and test it out this week. Let me know also if you want me to create a Notion template long-term strategy in the comment section. Now I need you to start small, measure the impact, then layer in the others over time. That is how long-term engagement grows step by step. And if you haven't seen my previous video on 5 simple ways to boost community engagement fast, go watch it up next. It is the perfect foundation for everything we talked about here. Also, if you are following my 90 days community building challenge, hit subscribe button so that you don't miss the next breakdown. I post one video every week on what is actually working in 2025. Communities that last aren't built on hype, they are built on belonging. Keep showing up, keep creating small moments of connection. That is how you turn short-term members into lifelong advocates. In my next episode, I'll be sharing the hardest lesson I learned as a community builder. So make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.